Why do we do inner child work? What is the significance of it? And why is it so big in the spiritual community? And more often than not, have you ever noticed that it seems to be coupled with that of the dark night? I want to welcome you to and back to the channel. Here on Crystal Clear, we talk all things spiritual. We get caught up in the 3D matrix and we forget that in the duality of the stress, the grief, the heartache, the hustle, that this is exactly why we showed up. There's something much bigger happening through the challenges, and our growth is awaiting. And today's topic, it actually is no different, but more potent, that it shows up actually every single day in this moment of how you react, how you respond, the way you show or dim your own light, the way you lay boundaries or withhold them, and your ability to be authentic, raw, and transparent to those around you. It all is significant because it all correlates back to this concept of your inner child. Now, for many of us, we go about our life and we're unconscious of it. But if you're watching this video, I'm going to say that you are in the midst of embarking it, trying to get a better grasp of it, understanding, and you're ready to do the work. So let's begin why it's so significant. Why are we so attracted to children? Why do we just kind of find ourselves, have you ever found yourself just laughing or just smiling in the aura that they present? Their childlike innocence, their light, their courage, their defiance of the world. The way they speak truth without no F's given. How children show up because they have yet to really embody the consequences of duality, the programming of one to dim their light, to try to mold them and instruct them to be a part of a paradigm of a matrix that they showed up for. We are attracted to these childlike essences of children because they are the mirrors of who we are. We are all courageous. We all have a beautiful light. We are all diverse in our own unique ways, which is just radiating the pure essence light that this world craves, and the raw authenticity of not being afraid to be rejected because they have yet to embody what that means. Unfortunately, life does happen. And it happens to every single one of us. And as we experience duality, so too does the way we show up in a matter of trying to learn survival. We move from the essence of the divine spark, that which we are, into survival of this 3D heavy, dense matrix of everybody projecting their own onto us, being too young to understand, to have the words to communicate, and ultimately, just exactly that. We're trying to learn, just learning to survive our day-to-day in the environment that we were placed. So how do we awaken to start doing the inner child work? What has brought you to this video, to this podcast? I ask you, leave a comment. Let us know. Everybody, and this is what I'm trying to get at, everybody's journey is unique. It's so diverse. And I think that we actually mapped it this way so that we could have our own divine awakening. We'd have our own ahas. We would have situations and experiences when we were children that would act as the catalyst of the true inner work that would break the shell of our radiance, if you will. So for myself personally, my inner child work began in the dark night. It was in my depression, my despair. It was in my grief, long, lonely nights of being with myself and really beginning to pull back the layer of the hurt, the true questions that desperately were seeking to be asked. Things like, what are your intentions? Why are you so scared of letting others know your truth? What is your heart? Why do you do the things you do? And these questions only came as I was pulling back the layers, if you will. So I'm going to share with you today stories that I have never heard anybody else necessarily express in their own inner child wounds, if you will. But I do so vulnerable. One, to show you, to first show you that there's no orthodox way to do this. It is a divine, intimate relationship between you and your baby, your inner child. There's no right or wrong, but it is ultimately at the end, for me, about consistency. And let me explain this, what I mean by this. When I first sat down to meet my inner child, yes, it would be a meditation. Yes, it was welcoming her into my space. And yes, I kind of presumed or perceived that maybe I just can wrap her up in my arms and let her know I love her. Is that what I need to do in this healing journey? Sure, I love you. Like, what else do you want from me? Until I really sat down and I saw her in my mind's eye. This little girl was defensive. She didn't want me to approach her. And I learned early on, she had some trust issues. The aura and the way she shunned me spoke louder than words. I've got this. Who are you to try to approach me now? I don't trust you. You've never been here before. Where are you coming from now? I'll take care of it on my own. This little girl who ultimately had the weight of the world on her shoulders, not knowing the words or the language to articulate or communicate what she needed early on, learned to bear it all. And in her own raw authenticity, when I see her in my mind's eye, the very first time, her knees were cradled up to her chest and she looked at me as in, don't come near me. Don't you fucking come near me. And I think that was a moment of true realization for myself. Wow. This little girl has never felt protected, felt honored, felt seen. But this is also something else this little girl doesn't fully understand. And I'm going to start helping today. I'm going to let her know, and I did let her know. Nobody knows you like I do. And I know I have failed, and I know I haven't been there. We are both doing the best we can from where we are, and I promise you from this day on, I give you a vow. From this day on, you don't have to do it alone. From this day on, I will sit with you. We will work through it. I will do what is necessary to earn your trust. And she didn't believe me. And she had every right not to believe me. But that would be the beginning phases of my own healing. Is one, to acknowledge it wasn't just let me wrap you up in a hug. It was, I'll show up for you. I will dedicate and stay consistent to you. Show me what needs to be healed. Show me what is desperately being asked to be seen. And let's navigate it together. Let me help bring down your walls so you can trust me. Now, this was not an overnight thing. This actually, genuinely, was probably a consistent, diligent work of months of showing up and unraveling stories, limiting beliefs, and obstacles that were interweaved into the essence of the way we, me and my inner child, navigated the world. There were moments in the silence of the night of asking what my true intentions were. Like, what is the purity of my heart? Questions like, maybe I really am selfish. Like, what is the transparency of my heart? What are my intentions? Why do I do the things I do? And I tell you guys, first and foremost, if you do this work when you are all alone and there's nobody to show face to, it's just you and you witnessing yourself and your own heart. This is the intimacy. This is the true raw moments that you're not proving yourself to anybody. You're just discovering who you are. And there's some things that are more easily discovered, if you will, while other things, especially for that inner child, may not fully understand. And this is where I'm going to take a flip to the script. Something that was very intimate. I'm going to be so raw with you guys. I'm going to tell you a story, and it's beautiful because still to this day, my inner child will show up with things that still need to be brought to the surface, that still needs to be witnessed, to be identified, to be held, to be worked through. I've got 41 years, showing my age, of work that still unravels. But the divine has everything set up beautifully in the orchestration of your awakening and things that you need to hear and see and know. So in this tailspin of this story, if you will, the dark night is also something that's a period significant for you and you awakening to the essence of who you are, right? Going back to that why inner child work is so essential, because it's remembering, it's witnessing the spark of divine love that you are. Now, here's the story. Many of these things I can go back and I can say, am I truly selfish as I'm crying, not only for myself, but for other people that had endured ugly relationships, like the true trauma that has been bestowed to others, questioning my intentions of why I even show up for videos. What is my heart of it? Some of these answers, what I'm trying to get with that, is that some of these answers are more apparent than others. Sometimes even in the inner child wound, though, there are things that happen that are not so apparent, right? Because the projection of other people's stories early on and their inability or their lack of consciousness to have worked through their own gets projected onto us. And as children, like an empty canvas, take it and inscript it within ourselves. And this is true for both the adult and other children who are also being scripted in their own way. So here we go. I'm going to tell you this story and hopefully give you the unorthodox way of healing that came to me in a radical, unexpected way. So one day, during the dark night of my soul, if you will, I remember going to work, and in my little cubicle area, there was a whole bunch of us, but there was a bunch of beautiful women that also worked with me. Please forgive me, I'm not putting stereotypes, but there was one girl in particular, and it's significant to the story because of who she represented. But I always looked at this one woman in particular, absolutely gorgeous. She, to me, reminded me of the cheerleading, like the leader of the cheerleading squad, if you would. She kind of led the group. She had her own essence. And I wouldn't necessarily say me and her were ever very close, but we were cordial with one another. This day in particular, she showed up and she had a whole bunch of lotions and fragrances and these cute little bags. And she handed out to all the women there. All the women except for me. And I didn't know why. But believe me when I say it hurt. And my response, my reaction was to ignore it. To maybe smile and say, oh, that's really cool. To act unbothered. But in a moment where I was living the dark night of my soul, if you will, and everything was triggering, everything was ultra sensitive, this too came in like a flash of heat to my soul. It felt like a burn, unrecognizable, but actually very familiar. I went throughout the day of my work. I didn't say anything. I tried to act unbothered. Cool, whatever. But really, it was a huge knock on the door. I came home, guys, and I recognized immediately what this moment in my adult life signified. Something I had probably been suppressing, I hadn't given a second thought to. But growing up, I was bullied. Growing up, there was one girl in particular that kind of acted like the cheerleading squad, if you will. Early on, elementary, before cliques were even a thing. It was like, I remember feeling Like this one girl in particular kind of created the significance of cliques. This is my elementary memory, right? Like this is my childhood memory. She was out to exclude me from the group. This is probably a huge significant reason, is a significant reason as to why I ended up growing up as a tomboy. None of the girls really end up accepting me. But to give you a detail of some of these bully-like essence that I endured, I remember being out with her and another girl. Ironically, or not so ironically, they both would end up on the cheerleading squad. There's no hate if they were seeing this video today. But at the time, we were in like first, second, maybe about first or second grade, I think. Maybe a little bit older. I don't remember in time. It doesn't really matter. But I do remember the one bully, if you will, whispering in the other girl's ear. Of course, I couldn't hear, but just like childlike essence and the ability to radiate truth without the consequences, openly said what the other girl said out loud and was like, "What? You don't like Crystal?" Another time, because our last names were similar, we were forced to sit with each other in the cafeteria line. I remember I got up to go get ketchup or something for my fries. She didn't realize I was right behind her, and in front of everybody, she had taken my coat, intentionally lifted it as if it was infested with some kind of disease, and dropped it to the floor. These moments, amongst many others, and my inability to speak my truth, to stand in my sovereignty, if you will, I didn't know how to react or respond. I just stayed quiet. I would pick up my coat. I felt embarrassed when she would tell the other girls, whatever she was telling them, that she didn't like me and that ultimately nobody should be my friend. Why did she do that? I don't know. Other than there had to be a projection, a story that was inserted into her blank canvas, and it was her own survival mechanism. But today, this day in particular, at work, coming home to the dark night, to the pain-stricken grief that I was already enduring day to day of trying to survive, this story was coming in loud, and it took me back to these childlike essences. And I'm going, as I had promised, to never abandon that little girl. I showed up for her again because she came out loud and strong. And this may have been the breakthrough moment. I sat with her. I sat with the woman that just experienced a rejection to a certain degree, to the child that experienced rejection growing up. And the truth was, I don't know why they did what they did. I don't know why they're rejecting us. I don't know why you were bullied. I don't know. I don't know. But I sat with that little girl and I felt her pain. I felt the rejection. I felt her light dim. And the reason that she was so scared to show up, nobody had really defended her. And I can understand why she felt hurt, why she felt rejected. I can understand, but I couldn't give her a reason. Is the point of my story. And sometimes, guys, this is the highlight of it. Sometimes you don't know why people do the things they do. We can only understand it to the degree that they are projecting their own reality. But how do you explain that to a little girl? You really can't. Because it defines the communication or the logic. It's just the energy of what she's encapsulating. And this is what we did. I cried. I cried with that little girl. We went on my bed and I hugged the shit out of her. I literally was hugging myself, bawling, tears running, and acknowledging, I don't know why that happened to you, but you didn't deserve it. I'm here for you. I don't know why so-and-so at work neglected to give you a gift today. I don't know why it happens. I don't know why, but it's okay because I've got you. We've got each other. And we don't need anybody else to validate that. And I held her, I cried. We felt the pain, we sobbed together. And this may have been the very first time that after this day, and I checked up on her again and again and again, her walls would soften. they started to come down. The more we would examine our childhood trauma, our childhood experiences of why would we build a wall? Why did we defend ourselves in such a manner? Why did we dim our light? Why were we so scared to share our truth? These moments would come and they would layer upon one another as we dissected the core of it all. But ultimately, in the end, it was to honor, to love, to witness that little girl. And sometimes, guys, coming full circumference, the answers are apparent. Sometimes we can get down on knee level to that little child and explain to them and help them gain a better perspective that they couldn't then. And sometimes you can't. And that's the unfortunate truth, is sometimes we don't have a logical reason for why shit happens in the 3D. Not to the extent that I can't dissect what happened to the girl that bullied me growing up, unknowing like how that would ricochet for the rest of my adolescence, up to when I'm an adult at work. The story does have a happy end though, guys. And I do believe this is how the divine orchestrates beautiful sequences, and there's no coincidence, there's no mistake. The next day, after doing that inner child work, the girl from work showed up with some lotion and fragrances in a little bag for me. She apologized and she said, I didn't realize at the time I was missing one, but this is for you. It was beautiful. It was kind of a kiss from the divine, if you would. It's a reminder not to take anything really personal, but to recognize everything is being drifted to you and for you, to have a deeper look and to witness yourself more profoundly than you ever have. So next time, when you are being rejected, when you lack holding boundaries, when you shy from speaking your truth, when you mold to a circumstance or situation, and you fear shining in your own authenticity in the way you really want to show up for yourself, but in fear that somebody may shun you, it's a beautiful time in this moment to recognize this is a reaction to something that was programmed in the inner child. These are the moments that are being asked to be looked at, to be witnessed, and to be held. Why do you do the things you do? And how do we liberate those barriers so that you can step back into the essence of the divinity that you are, the flame, the spark of the divine, of the love, of the truth, of the light? I have so much love for you guys. If this has helped you in any way, if you are courageous and you want to share your own experience, things that have brought you, I encourage you to share your story. Not only because I'm truly interested and I love hearing about how we all evolve, but for our brothers and sisters. We're all in this together. We're all experiencing a diverse, divine, unique script, but the energy is universal. If you're watching this on Apple or Spotify, I welcome you to join the tribe by subscribing and rating. Or if you're on YouTube, to subscribe as well, to leave a comment, to like, to share this with anybody that may benefit from it. I want to thank you guys for the honor of sharing my story and hope that it may help you in your journey. These are things that happen behind the scenes that we don't really talk about, but that's where the growth happens, in the messy, yucky reality of the matrix, if you will. I'm sending you guys so much love and light and healing. And until next time, loving you guys. Namaste.